Hey guys, what's up? It's Chris from Prime Health Management, Palm Beach County's premier personal training service for luxury high-rise and corporate office buildings. And for this week's video, we're going to be discussing the TRX. Now, for those of you who haven't heard of the TRX, it's basically a way to train your body just by using your own body weight. And it's easy to change the resistance just by positioning your feet in a different position. Now, depending on the exercise, you can make it either easier or harder just by moving your feet away or closer to the anchor point. Now, for those of you who don't know what a TRX is, I highly recommend it. It's pretty versatile, it's very user-friendly, it's lightweight, very easy to use, and best of all, you can perform a ton of different exercises on it. So for this week's video, we're going to highlight some of the more common exercises that you might do on this, and I also want to showcase the incorrect way to do these. Okay, first up, we're going to get started with the TRX Row. Now, this exercise is your best bet in terms of training your back and bicep muscles. Now, notice how I'm keeping my body pretty much rigid. I'm not dropping my hips down or to the side. I'm keeping my abs tight, and the only thing that's moving is basically my arms. Okay, probably the biggest mistake that I see when people are doing the TRX row is that they initially pull too hard and then they end up getting slack at the top of the movement, like you can see right there. And then you almost have to end up like falling backwards, and it gets definitely a little bit awkward and jerky. So please try not to do that. Okay, movement number 2 that we're going to get into is your TRX squat. Now, I really enjoy coaching clients on how to do the squat properly by using the TRX because the handles basically act as a guide. They help prevent you from falling backwards, but more importantly, they really help you emphasize getting the weight over your heels as you go up and down. The biggest mistake that I see when it comes to form is this right here. Notice how I'm pretty much leaning and putting all of my body weight behind the straps, and I'm kind of holding on for dear life a little bit. As I go down at the bottom portion of my squat, there's a lot of strain right above my knee joint, and over time, if you do your squats like that on the TRX, it can cause some serious knee issues. So now that we've already covered a pulling movement, now let's get into a pushing movement. This is going to be your TRX Press or TRX push-up. And as you notice, the biggest thing when it comes to form, correct form, as I'm lowering myself into the push-up, I'm not allowing the straps to really scrape against my arms. So this right here is a pretty common issue that I see when people are doing the press. They're almost turning the exercise into an awkward shoulder exercise, which is kind of wreaking havoc on that shoulder joint itself. Make sure, like I said, as you go down into your press, you're keeping the straps directly above your arms. Okay, next up we're going to get into a reverse lunge, and just like before in our squat, we're just basically using the handles from the TRX as a guide. I'm not putting my entire body weight into it. I have a loose grip, and it's mostly there just for balance. Alright, you really want to get your reverse lunge to not look anything like this. I mean, not that it's horribly wrong, but we want to steer away from hanging on for dear life onto the straps. Like I said before, when you're doing your squat or your reverse lunge, the straps and handles are just there for balance and support. Okay, so next up we're going to get into the TRX Bicep Curl. Now, as long as you've mastered the row, you're pretty much going to be totally fine when it comes to doing the bicep curl. Notice my body position, my hips aren't sagging, my abs are really tight, I'm bracing my core. But when you go into your curl, you want to make sure at the top of the movement, your elbows are facing directly in front of you. Biggest mistake that we run into is just like in your row, that initial pull, that initial contraction is too hard, too fast, and you end up getting slack at the top of the movement. Now, you can definitely also train your triceps from the TRX. This is another common movement. This is TRX Tricep Extensions. And the setup is basically similar to your bicep curl, except you're going to be facing the other direction. Keep your abs tight, don't let your hips sag, and break at the elbow and push yourself back up. If you have any shoulder problems, I really need you to be aware of your form when doing the tricep extension. Even though it's targeting your tricep muscles, if you go too deep into the down position as I'm demonstrating, it can place a lot of stress within the shoulder joint. So please make sure you're only breaking the elbow to about 90 degrees to keep the tension on the tricep muscles. Alright guys, thanks a lot for tuning in for this week's video on how to properly use the TRX. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And also, if you'd like to get Prime Health Management incorporated within your office building or luxury high-rise condominium, please drop us an email at primehealthmanagement@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week with another tip. Take care.